All right, Fanduel first look show. Um, I will tell you this came out and I debated doing it yesterday, but ran out of time. And in fairness, I've managed to find a way to be patient somehow because this is one of my favorite things to do is look at the slate and figure out who's mispriced, who's not. Leading off with Arkansas Memphis, very high total in this one at 63 and a half. I think this game is a shootout. There's a number of games that have shootout capabilities, so I think we're going to end up with on both sites pools that are tight, revolving around a fair set of games, and just trying to get two full game stacks is really going to end up being the play more than likely because I think two of these games are going to end up shooting out. This is one of those that I think we can target. 12-5 for Taylor Green, high price to pay, but the man is putting up absolute numbers with 100-yard rushing games aplenty, and he just dominated the Ole Miss last week. We ended up going very heavy on Green later in the week. We kept getting more and more on him in that Ole Miss matchup. Got a little bit away from Sellers that ended up working heavily in our favor. This is a big price tag, so we'll need to see what everybody else is, but he's certainly a guy that you're going to want exposure to irregardless of what everybody else's price is. Mike Washington, lead back for Arkansas. I tend to try to lean towards Taylor Green. I don't think it's bad, though, to pivot off of him to Washington in certain situations. Washington has looked good so far this year. We're going to have to keep an eye on Greg DeRozier's. Sutton Smith has performed admirably in his absence. I do like him as a bring back to the Taylor Green stuff. But if DeRozier's is active, 5,800 is a small price to pay if he can assume that role again. I think that that's going to split backfield if he is active, but Sutton Smith will be a fabulous play after we saw what Keywan Lacey. This is a very good Memphis team playing at home. So Sutton Smith firmly in play at 8,100. Not a bad price there. Omega Blake, that is a hefty tag at 9K. That makes that stack pretty prohibitive to go green with Blake. Blake hasn't had that massive upside, but there's been plenty of plays in those games, specifically last week, where he had chances to add an extra touchdown and really explode here. It's just kind of tough to take a 12-5 quarterback with a 9K wide receiver and pay off that price tag, but that's something that I'll have to consider as the week goes on. Cortez Bram, he's definitely the best pass catching option, in my opinion, for this Memphis team. If you want to bring it back with a pass catcher, I think you can easily play Taylor Green naked. Bram is a solid bring back in this situation at 5,600. He played with the quarterback Brendan Lewis at Nevada. So they have a pre-existing relationship. He played well last year. He's going to be solidly involved as the top option passing. If you think Arkansas gets out to a decent sized lead, you'll see Bram leading the team in targets, would be my opinion. He'd be the guy that I'd want to take shots on here. All right, moving into SMU TCU, another game that can shoot out. 62.5 over under on this one, 35-28 rough score line there. I know those don't add up, but I'm not giving you 0.75s. I'm rounding up. Oh, Josh Hoover, that is a beautiful price tag at 9,800. He is a featured option. I know he's not mobile, but he can put up massive numbers through the air. SMU is a little more gettable on the back end than they are on the front seven. So I like playing Hoover here in this matchup. This is a game that I want to target heavily in both sites. It's a game that I will have a fair amount of exposure to. Kevin Jennings, fine option at 10-2 as well. I think you can play it both ways personally. TJ Harden, 9,900. That is a hefty tag on him. I like his price a lot on DK. I'm going to play a lot of him there. A little bit more prohibitive at 99 here, but if you're going full game stacks, I think he's a necessary piece to this SMU offense, knowing that TCU is probably a little weaker on defense, especially on the ground, and SMU is going to try to run the football here. Kavorian Barnes banged up. Don't know what his status is going to end up being. I probably want to avoid either way. Like I said, SMU better defending the run than the pass. 9,300 is too much for him. I'm out there more than likely. Oh, we're getting a good one. Okay. Jordan Dwyer has performed well early in the season. 9,200, not too prohibitive here. I'm not going there. He will not be a core play. He's not going to be the guy that I'm going after. If you want to double stack, I don't have issues double stacking with Hoover. You're going to want at minimum one wide receiver with him. Brinson is the top option. I wouldn't play Cooper versus I prefer Brinson to Cooper in this situation if I'm going to play an SMU pass catcher. Cooper's more of like a one-shot guy. He's not cheap enough in this situation. DJ Rogers played well last week. Don't know how much I'd buy into it, and there's zero reason to. Eric McAllister is going to be a core play at 5,600. Yes, he hasn't done squat so far through 2 games this year. Yes, fantasy managers in season-long leagues are wanting to drop him at this point. I'm still buying the talent. I think he's a 1,000-yard wideout easily in this offense. He's the top option. He will be a staple in most of my lineups at this point because that is a ridiculous price tag. Joseph Manjack, fine play. If McAllister was 9K, Dwyer was 9,200, then sure, I'll take shots on Rodgers and Manjack. In this situation, 0% chance. There's going to be a lot of Hoover. There's going to be a lot of 5,600 McAllister sprinkled throughout. RJ Maryland, 5,300, no issues going there as well. Jordan Hudson, rumors that he could be back this week. I would prefer he wouldn't be, but if he does come back, he's going to take Cooper's spot. Hence why I don't want to play Cooper as much. I want to play Brinson. I think Brinson's the one, no matter what the status of Hudson is. That's a heck of a price tag. That's the best price tag we've seen. I mean, we're only 2 games in, but in fairness, McAllister, that's going to be a hard one to beat as far as best value on the slate. Syracuse Clemson. 55.5, 37 for Clemson. Don't know they get there, but we'll see. 19 for the Cuse. Angeli, I don't care. He's 6,800. I'm not playing him. I don't care that Clemson has struggled a little bit. That defense is fine enough. It's at Clemson. I don't trust Angeli. He doesn't move. 6,800. I don't think I'm going to need it. Klubnik at 10-3. Maybe he's in play. DK, he was easy. You just X him out. I think 10-3 for Klubnik, maybe you could sell me on. 83 for Randall, I don't mind. I think he gets a good amount of work. Syracuse struggling against the run game. I don't have a problem with that. That's going to be an interesting one to say Randall versus Washington and Sutton Smith. I'd probably say I would rank it Smith, Randall, Washington in that order, but we'll have to wait and see. Projections tell me a lot. Will Nixon, if Yassine Willis is out, Will Nixon, glaring value at 6K. More of a DK guy, though, because he catches passes well, and the game script in this one should have them as a prohibitive dog. Therefore, I would expect them to have to throw the ball more. I might end up being able to sell myself on Angeli. I don't know. I don't prefer that. 9,500 for Wesco, tall price to pay there. Given the game environment, I think Randall's probably the better play in that situation. I think you can look to these Syracuse wideouts at this point, actually. Now that I see it, 37, maybe down Yassine Willis. They're going to have to chuck it. I think these wideouts are in play potentially. I don't think you're going to need the value from Angeli unless you really want 2 high-end stacks together. But I don't think you're going to need that because he's not mobile. I don't know that he has the upside to be the guy you need. But the wideouts are in play. Jonte Cook hadn't done much since week 1. Darrell Gill popped off last week. He was the presumed number 1 coming into the season. He's probably the guy I would take shots on if I was going to, is Gill at that 56 price tag. Villari involved, but what's the upside for these guys? You know what I mean? I think Gill's probably got the most upside, and that would be the one I'd be willing to take shots on. All right. My favorite game this week. It's going to be on the main TV early in the day. SMU TCU on the side TV. It's 56.5, Utah, Texas Tech. 30 Utah, 26.5 Texas for the Red Raiders here. Don't have to, being in Utah, we don't have to worry about the potential injury from a tortilla slip. Devin Dampier at 11.6, understandably priced there. I think I'll probably be out there. He has good rushing upside, passing upside, not nearly as much. He's based on his legs. I think this Texas Tech defensive line is underrated coming into the season. They're still kind of underrated, given how good their ends are. They went out and bought 2 absolute studs to rush off this end. Baylor Morton's been on absolute fire to start the year. 3 to 4 touchdowns in every game. He had that injury scare, but he's fine. He's playing his best football he's ever played. So 10-6, he's in play. I think Utah is able to stop this run game, and then everything flows through Baylor in here. So I love that. Jacoby Williams is the clear top back, in my opinion. Dickey, no shot. I'm playing him at 72. He just doesn't have juice. I don't love that price tag on Jacoby Williams. I much prefer him on DK. He's got good pass catching upside, but I don't think the rushing floor is there. And I would worry that Dickey gets some rushing touches in the red zone, and therefore Morton's going to chuck it anyway. So I think at 87, I'm probably out here. They were glaring value last week. They paid off. This week, not so much. Utah backfield is going to be a tough one. So Nakari Rogers is more of a scat back, in my opinion. At 76, I'm out there. Wayshawn Parker, I like. So I don't mind taking shots on Parker at 6'7". Yes, his carry volume has been lower than I would like throughout the early portion of the season. Are they just trying to keep him healthy? It's a 1A, 1B situation. Rogers is going to play a ton, but I do like Parker. I don't hate that 6'7" price tag there. Ryan Davis has been operating as the 1. I don't like that price tag at all. I still love the Virgil, Douglas, and Eakin. I prefer in this situation, I'm still going to lean Douglas and Virgil. I know Eakin had a monster game last week. Douglas did catch a touchdown, paid it out for us. I did have some Eakin. I had some doubles. I don't know that this is the week to double Texas Tech. Carter actually played pretty well last week, but I would still lean towards the wide receivers. That's just recency bias to go to Carter there. Hunter Andrews is an interesting pivot here at 5,100. So Andrews, if it'll load, there we go. 5 targets last week against Wyoming, and he ran 6 times. He's been getting rushing attempts. So his role has grown, and the week 2 game they don't have it on here, which I appreciate DK putting that on. But I actually like this play of Hunter Andrews. He's getting carries and he's getting plenty of catches. His versatility in this game is going to be important. He's an important piece to this offense. I like this price tag at 5,100. I think you take shots there 100%. I think you're getting an underrated value there. He'll go lower owned, but he's going to create a ton of room for you to fit in these more high price stacks and these more high profile offenses. Tulane Ole Miss. Okay. 60.5 in this one. I think that's a fair line. It probably goes over, in my opinion, but Ole Miss at 37, Tulane at 24. I think Tulane goes over that total. Ole Miss's defense, nothing to write home about. I don't know that I can say that Tulane's offense is any worse than Arkansas's at this point. Retzlaff is in play at 9,900 just because he's been running the hell out of the football. He's had 4 touchdowns last week. against Duke. Duke's not a terrible defense. I know they've been leaky the last 2 weeks, but I give Retzlaff some credit here. He's playing well. I'm a full void on this. I think that you're going to hear Kiffin say, "Hey, Simmons is going to play, yada yada." Could he play him? Maybe. The way he was moving, we're never going to find out. Lane's going to keep telling us Simmons is going to start. I think Chambliss starts, and Chambliss played very well last week. This Tulane defense frustrated the heck out of Darian Mensah last week. Mensah still threw for 303, but it was a lot of garbage time there. I don't think you could pay $12K for this. If I was in the sub 11K, maybe. Chambliss did run the ball fairly well. He threw the ball well. I think the Arkansas defense is probably worse than the Tulane defense, in fairness. I think you're going to hear that Simmons is going to play all week. I think Chambliss ends up playing. Simmons, he came into that game. He's going to be an emergency backup, but his ankle is jacked right now. He's got a high ankle sprain. I have no doubt about that. That thing was taped up, spatted exactly like a high ankle, where you keep that thing. It's like you get this drop foot, because I've had this. You get this drop foot, and you almost you can't flex the foot forward. So what you have to do is spat that ankle in I would call it a flexed running position, and then tape the shoe, the cleat, upward in that angle, and it will allow you to run because you're not trying to flex that ankle because you can't flex it. That's what he looks like right now. So his mobility is 0 right now. I think you're looking at 3 to 4 weeks before Simmons is somewhat right. Chambliss played well enough that they're going to continue with him, in my opinion, right now until Simmons is fully healthy. So I think it's the Chambliss show with Simmons in an emergency role, but it's not a situation I feel like monitoring, especially at 12K. So I'm going to avoid situation there. Kejuan Lacey at 10K, that's where he should be. That is the price tag he should be. I would say full avoid on this backfield for Tulane unless you get a full bill of health. But the fact is, I think Maurice Turner's back this week. He should assume the number 1 role, but Mobley's played fairly well, so he's going to be involved. I'm just kind of out on this. I think they end up playing. If I'm playing Tulane, I want to play them through the pass game and through Retzlaff mainly because of his rushing upside. And I think this is very split backfield for the time being. We kind of knew Mobley was going to be the guy when Turner was out, but then when Turner's back, especially his first week back, how much do I want to trust it? And then against Ole Miss, I don't really want to. Kejuan Lacey in the pool, 100%, 10K. He's the clear top option in that backfield. He did leave the game last week at one point with a arm issue, but I think it was a helmet hit him on the funny bone, gave him a little numb arm. He came right back. No problems there. Hey, look at that. They priced Harrison Wallace correctly, whereas DK priced him at 4,100. So Harrison Wallace at 98. I don't know that I can get there. I'm still not a Harrison Wallace guy. I know he's played great so far this year. Daquan Wright, reasonable price tag on him. Can't trust Stribling and Lee yet. I'm gonna need to see some of that. Omari Hayes is definitely the top option for this Tulane team. Reasonable price tag on him at 5,900. If you are going to stack Jake Retzlaff, it would be with Omari Hayes for me. The Bussin' Bowl. I'm going to continue to tout it as that because why not? 44.5, just an absolutely putrid total on this thing. 23 for Michigan. Wrong teams favored. 21.5 for Nebraska. I get it. We need to see it. 8,200 for Underwood. This is a tough matchup. I wouldn't play him. Raiola, 7,500. Also, fairly tough matchup. Wouldn't play him. I get the price tags are low. I'd rather even go to Angeli than these two. I just think this is a weird spot. And Raiola has 0 rushing upside. He's probably got a negative rushing floor. He's going to take away rushing yards. Underwood has rushing upside, ran the ball well last week, but that was Central Michigan and was absolutely terrible against Oklahoma. I just don't think it's worth taking chances there. Justice Haynes, probably a no thank you at 9,500. He's just priced up in this matchup. This matchup's fairly tough at Nebraska. Realistically, outside of that 75 run against Oklahoma, 75-yard TD run against Oklahoma, he wasn't great there. He's been good in the other games, but they were cupcake games. Emmett Johnson probably in play at 84. He's clearly the bell cow for them. And this Michigan defense is not as good as it has been in the past. I don't mind taking shots there if I was going to go to this game. I just don't want to go to this game. Similarly, you can't play Ja'Cory Barney. He's just not a touchdown scorer, so I'm kind of out there. If I was going to play a Michigan wide receiver, it would be McCulley. I just prefer him to Samaj Morgan. Marlon Klein, maybe, but his ankle's jacked too, so I'm not touching an immobile tight end. Dane Key, meh. I just probably want – I want to avoid this game as much as possible. Auburn, Oklahoma. This is always going to be a question. What is John Mateer's price tag? 11-2, very fair. That immediately tells me I'm not playing Ole Miss, guys, because I'd rather play John Mateer 10 times out of 10. Jackson Arnold revenge game. He'll be in the pool at 9,500. No issues there. His rushing upside is very good. Blaylock looks to have taken over as the top back. If Damari Alston's playing, I'm out on that backfield. No, thank you. This Oklahoma defense is stout enough. Blaylock would be the only option in this backfield. I'm out probably there anyway. I would trust Mateer more so. They were able to get the run game going last week against Temple, but eventually I think Jaden Ott probably gets it going, but Blaylock is the top option right now. 8,300 for Deion Burks. He's definitely the most consistent guy in this pass catching room. I don't mind Kanak at 59 here. He's really good value on DK. Same thing with Satanga. Don't mind either one of them at those price tags. Burks is the clear number one, though. I love this price tag on Cam Coleman. They're going to have to spam this button. So I think an underrated stack, right now my GPP stack might end up being Jackson Arnold to Cam Coleman. Cam Coleman's way better than a 6,600 player. He will be fine. He just hasn't been needed. You see in this Ball State game, 7 for 77. They did a good job at Baylor taking him away. But I think they're going to end up needing to throw the ball here. And there will be guys open. Cam Coleman, chief among them. That's going to be a fun one. That's a fun game. That might be a top of the board. Michigan, Nebraska, maybe on the side TV. Auburn, Oklahoma on the main for that 2:30 slot. For me, Purdue, Notre Dame. Kind of an ugly one as well. 52.5, 40-point projection for Notre Dame, 13 for Purdue. I actually think Purdue ends up going over that. Ryan Brown, I'm torn on Ryan Brown. He's played okay so far this year. This is not a Notre Dame defense of old. 300 yards against USC is nothing to scoff at. We've seen him run for 100 against Illinois last year. I think he has moderate upside. I would definitely prefer him over the two guys in the Bussin' Bowl. He's an interesting play. I think he's an off-the-radar guy that maybe could squeak you some value on these different slates. I'm out on CJ Carr at 10-4. I don't think they need him in this spot. Jeremiah Love at 11 is a lot. I don't think they're going to use him. I think that the bigger games are where they're going to need to use him. I mean, this is the type of stuff he can do, but even then it's not 3X. I think we'll see. I don't know. That's a big price. I don't know that I'm going to end up wanting to pay that. Speaking of price, Jadarian Price he's just so involved. But he's got to find the end zone twice to get you there. So that's tough. That's a very thin margin play. I would probably stay away from the Maccabee play, even at 6,800. I think there's better plays there. Wide receivers. Michael Jackson, I much prefer on DK. I don't really want to get there. But if I was going to stack Brown, it's with Michael Jackson. I probably am going to end up wanting to play him naked and hoping that that Brown just uses his legs and needs to run a little bit more in this situation. I'm out on the Notre Dame wideouts probably. They spread it around pretty heavily. Let's talk about this game. So let's go to Cam Fancher. Let's see what the update. He returned to practice. Oh, goody. Here's the deal. Cam Fancher sucks. I'm going to continue to say that. It's 48.5 total in this thing. Both these teams suck. Gio Lopez, I like the player. Saw him play in person last year for South Alabama. That was the only game I went to. I don't really prefer to go to games anymore. I used to work at LSU and be on the sideline for all the games. But I just don't like going to games now. I prefer to watch 5 games at a time rather than be in person for one. Gio's got wheels. Somebody's going to be worth playing in this game. I would probably go to Miles Montgomery as my favorite play in this game. But even then, I don't want to touch this mess. I just don't think it has a chance to shoot out because Belichick's not going to want to play a shootout. Scott Frost does not have the pieces to be good here. This game just screams ugly, and I don't want any part of it. But I'll look at projections. I'll give it a chance. Maybe something ends up sticking out. But I just hate that game. This game has sneaky shootout potential. 59.5 over under. 31, 28.5. Duke with the 31. I love this game. I think nobody's going to respect the fact that both of these teams have shootout capability. The defenses are both suspect because everything says to me, NC State, great defense under Dave Doeren. No, they might be UVA under Brennan Armstrong's levels of poor here because they gave up points to Robbie Ashford and Wake Forest. They've given up points to everybody. Caton Hauser in East Carolina. Duke's giving up points right now. I don't know what the deal is with Manny Diaz here, but give me. I'll play Mensa at 8,800, and I'll play Bailey at 10.5. I have no issues with both. Now the problem with Mensa is he's not exactly the most mobile guy, but both of these defenses suck. I have no issues being this a game stack game. Very low owned game too, probably very low owned. I think everybody goes to Smothers. Now, my concern with Smothers at 9,800 is 100%. They did not play him in the red zone last week. They played Jaden Scott, the backup. So I'm out on the Duke backs. No problem there. They're a 55, 60% pass rate team. I think you play them through the pass game, no doubt about it. That's the way they like to roll. I like Bailey more than Smothers because of his upside in the run game. Bailey will use his legs in the red zone, and I worry about Smothers' capabilities to score touchdowns. Prefer him on DK. He's going to catch the ball a lot. But at 9,800, I'll keep him in the pool, but he's not a poor play after that performance last week. Look at that. FanDuel's finally learning. Cooper Barkate. DK hadn't learned this yet. He's the number one option in this offense. He has yet to score a touchdown, still averaging double-digit points per game. I will pair him with Mensa plenty. I think Andrew Anthony, fine option as a secondary play. Did Quayshawn have the big game last week? He had 6 for 81. He had a decent game. Was it Higgins who caught the touchdowns? No, I don't remember. Maybe Anthony caught more touchdowns again. Nope. Anthony had the bad game last week. Anyway, Barkade still hadn't caught the touchdown. He's the top option, though. He's the most targeted guy in this offense. I would say I understand if you want to take shots on Justin Jolie. I would not take shots on anybody else in this pass offense because I don't trust them. Just be fair warned that you could easily get this 6 points from Jolie. Now, 16, very happy with, but it takes 2 touchdowns. He is their red zone threat in there. And if you're playing Bailey, you can play him with Jolie. They just spread it around so much. I prefer Bailey naked rather than paired up with one of his pass catchers. It's just too much risk there. But Barkate with Mensa, fabulous. I love that. Big fan there. All right. South Carolina, Missouri, 46.5. It's an ugly total for the most part. South Carolina's at like a 17-point projection. We don't know what the deal with Lenoris Sellers is going to be. He's playing terrible anyway. Luke Doty sucks. Even at 6,500, I'm not playing Luke Doty. I'll just fair warned. If Luke Doty starts, Like last week, I probably got messed up on the Shambliss. I don't know what his price was last week. He might have been 4,500 for all I know, and I just wasn't paying attention well enough. That's something to keep an eye on. If there is a backup quarterback, keep an eye on him, because if that guy's going to start, he sometimes is 4,500 min priced, and you got to take it. In this situation, 6,500 for Doty. No, thank you. I'm out there. Uh, Pribula definitely in play at 9,400, no doubt about it. This South Carolina defense not very good. I like Pribula. He has wheels. He's been throwing the ball very well. You don't have to stack him, but you can. I like that price tag. I will have some Pribula. I think Missouri absolutely kicks the snot out of South Carolina this week. I was hoping that game would open under 10, and I would have bet the house on it. 9,200 Ahmad Hardy, no issues. You want to play him. Can't trust any of these backs for South Carolina. This Missouri defense is nasty. They're in a weird situation. I don't want to play any of them. Faison's the clear top back now. Apparently, Attaway, it took a week, and it was Faison's job. Hardy, 92, will sprinkle him in. No problem there. Great player. 8,600 for Coleman. Man, oh man, oh man. That's a tough one. So I'm probably going to end up avoiding. Nick Harbor played well last week, but I'm going to avoid the South Carolina receiving options. Norfleet has played pretty well. I just, I don't think he does 7 for 76 all the time. You want to mix him in every once in a while, sure. I think Marquise Johnson's worth shots here. He is a deep play threat. 5,400. He's a guy that you're buying low on at this point, but I think he probably should be in the pool. He would be the deep option in this offense. Kevin Coleman, more of your PPR option. He's scoring well, but 8,600 is a decent price. If I'm in that range, I don't hate it, but it's one of those things that I'll have to wait and see. All right, this game has shootout potential as well. Arizona State, Baylor, 59.5 total, 31 Baylor, 28.5 for Arizona State. Arizona State's defense has not played great. Baylor's defense also hadn't played great. Love the shootout potential here. Levitt at 92 is in play. Guaranteed, I will have him in play. I know he has played absolutely awful, especially that Mississippi State game. He has not been good to start the year, but he has rushing upside. He has a rushing floor, and he's got a top wide receiver that can carry him to a 27-point game and 3X. Sawyer Robertson firmly in play as well. So at 11K, no issues there. He's been playing well as here with 3 touchdowns in each game minimum. He's got rushing upside. Auburn game, he didn't show it, but he has more rushing upside than he's even shown so far early in the season. I don't mind Sawyer Robertson at 11K. I think this is a good game that could shoot out. Now, rule number 1, if you're ever playing Sawyer Robertson, the golden rule? You better play Bryson Washington. So Bryson Washington, 24, 27, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's the top option in this backfield. I love him as a play this week. 10-2, no issues getting there whatsoever. They can run the ball on Arizona State. Arizona State, good run defense, though, but they can run it on them. This backfield is going to be interesting. So Raleek Brown is a home run hitter. Kyson Brown was practicing yesterday. He missed last week. I think you can't play him coming off this injury. But Udo's played well and Raleek's played well. So this is now a 3-man committee, if I was to guess. I'm probably just going to be out on all 3. I probably am out on all 3. Just because I think it's too messed up of a situation. I'd much rather play Bryson Washington. If I'm playing this game, my first stack 100% is Levitt, Washington, and Jordan Tyson. I have no issues going there. Tyson, you can play Tyson on his own. You can play Tyson without him. Tyson's the best player on the field every time he steps on it. He's going to get you a ton of points. He's just like guaranteed production. Love that play. Don't mind Josh Cameron. It looked like Ashton Hawkins kind of took over for Cole Wilson in that second game. Wilson had that really good first game, but afterward he's kind of been demoted almost. It looks like Ashton Hawkins kind of took over that spot. What did Josh Cameron do last week? I love Josh Cameron. So he had a touchdown last week. He's a guy that you take shots on and pair him with Sawyer Robertson. No issues there. You can stack those guys, bring it back with Tyson if you want. Hawkins, I have no issues with either. Did Prentice have a big game last week? Nope. No, but he's caught a touchdown in all 3 games. I just wouldn't buy into that. That volume's not enough. So take Prentice out of your pool for sure. Hawkins at 79, that's a lot. I probably prefer Cameron to Hawkins. I probably am going to be out on Hawkins given that price tag. Trig definitely in play at 6K. So yeah, Trig's in play at 6K. No issues if you want to go there. I don't think I would play anybody else from Arizona State. It's Tyson or bust for me personally. This is a fun one. Man, I might run out of TVs at 6:30. Illinois, Indiana is going to be on a TV. I think Arizona State, Baylor is going to be on a TV. And then I'll probably have to put South Carolina, Missouri on the iPad or Florida, Miami on the iPad. So Mendoza's playing well. I think this game has also, similar to that Duke game, it's a sneaky shootout potential for Illinois, Indiana. Altmaier, 93, a little bit of mobility. This game, I think it shoots. I think it does shoot out. I think it goes over this total. Mendoza's playing well, very well right now. 5-4, but they're terrible teams. Old Dominion struggled, but he's really picked it up the last 2 weeks, getting comfortable in this system. Both are probably in the pool right now, and I'm going to debate whether I want to get a game stack of this game somehow, thinking that we could see we've seen Illinois enter into these shootout games before. Indiana struggled a little bit with the Old Dominion offense. So I would say that it's possible this game shoots out and is played in the upper 30s or 40s. Fagan, I'm out on. I just don't trust him. I love he's a refrigerator on, with appendages, but he's just not explosive enough. Lawfery maybe comes back this week. If he does, it kind of eats into Valentine. Valentine's playing very well, though. On a per-touch basis, he's been way better than Fagan, but Fagan's getting a ton of work. I probably prefer to play this game with the Illinois pass offense. I don't like the outside wide receivers as much. I'm more like the Hank Beatty in the slot type deal. The Indiana backfield is playable, maybe. Illinois' run defense has been stout, so I don't know that I want to get there. But Lee Beebe being out for the season has condensed the backfield market share down to 2. And I think Hemby has, if I was to guess, it's a 65-35 Hemby over Black touch scenario. So if I'm playing one, I'm playing Hemby. He's the better pass catcher and the more reliable goal line-ish back, whereas Black a little more scat back style. All right, Omar Cooper is priced way too high. I had no shot. I'm paying 10K for him. Hank Beatty at 88, don't hate. Elijah Surratt at 82, very fair pricing on him. He's had 2 down games and the 1 monster in there. I would lean towards he's the top receiver in this offense. 82, no problems paying that. He will be in lineups for me. EJ Williams. He came out in the first week and was just the targets, just soaking up targets, and then he's kind of slowed down ever since. Maybe you could end up taking shots there, but I would prefer not to. Oh, Justin Bowick's hurt, man. Well, he plays on the outside. So I don't like him that much. I don't like the outside wideouts for this team, because somebody's going to end up matched up with D'Angelo Pons, and you're not going to want to face that guy. Hank Beatty's the only option in this Illinois pass offense that I'm going to be willing to take shots on. So really, to me, it's very narrow. It's Beatty, it's Surratt, Hemby, maybe Valentine if we get word that Loffery's out, maybe Fagan if I really want to get frisky, but probably not. And then I'm open to Mendoza and Altmaier. Both have enough mobility to be considered for me if I want to get frisky for that game. Florida and Miami, 52.5, 30-22. I just don't think you can play Lagway at all. No shot there. I'm not going to want to play Carson Beck. I mean, do you really think Beck's better than Nussmeier? And Florida really their Florida defense is good. It's better than it's getting credit for. No shot I'm playing Fletcher. Yes, please. I will play Jaden Baugh. Yes, the Miami defensive line is stout. Absolutely stacked. But Jaden Ball's a difference maker, man. I mean, even LSU is a very quality defense, and he put up 14 with no touchdowns, 46 yards rushing. He had a, 70-plus yard receiving touchdown called back on a penalty, 7 catches. He's just so involved in this team. I don't mind paying $7,100 whatsoever for Jaden Ball. He's the clear top back. He's one of the best backs in the SEC. Give me the talent level there. Never going to pay $8,700 for CJ Daniels. Malachi Tony's in play at 76. Don't have issues going there. Jojo Trader, no thank you. Keelan Marion, no thank you. Yeah, I would say Tony's the only one that I'd be open to. And I'm just to the point, I'm not playing Eugene Wilson. I'm a Eugene Wilson fan. I just think they're using him improperly, personally. I think Vernell Brown's the clear top option in this offense. He's getting a ton of targets, ton of yards. He's getting short area. He should be the deep threat. I will play Vernell Brown at 6,100. No issues playing him. I know Lagway's stinking it up, but he's still capable of throwing it. And the Miami defense is much worse on the back end. 6,100, small price tag to pay for Vernell Brown. So those are some great games this week. I think you are going to want to get a ton of exposure to Arizona State, Baylor, Duke, NC State, Tulane, Ole Miss, SMU, TCU, Arkansas, Memphis, and then you're kind of like small, maybe I want to take shots on are Utah, Texas Tech, Auburn, Oklahoma, and Illinois, Indiana as your underrated stacks. But I think NC State Duke is going to go under-owned for what that game is going to be.